happy this package showed up today. For some reason, I was really excited for this one because there's some things in here that I kind of want to play with and form my opinion on before I start going on and recommending it, because there's kind of a blaster that people are ignoring to the most part, and I kind of don't want that because I happen to think it's kind of cool, and, well, basically just because of one thing, which is in this box. Times a lot, because I bought out their entire stock. And who's they? Well, Foam Blast! I bought a bunch of stuff from Foam Blast. They also sent me a bunch of stuff in here for free, which I very much appreciate, because I need all the frickin' help I can get. So thank you very much, Adrian and Michelle from Foam Blast, and I'm kind of excited, but before we open this thing and I show you what I've got and kind of talk about why I got it, I do have to mention that they have some new Walcom S7 patches on their website. These are version 2 of the ones that we have. These are, if you bought the first one, these ones are like completely, I guess the term is embroidered. It's not like fluffy cotton stuff that, while it's really cool, these are not that, because the ones that I have like on my chest rig is completely fluffed out everywhere right now, and I would have to shave it. These ones are just kind of your typical rugged, durable patches, and they come Velcroed, I believe, which is absolutely awesome. So if you're looking to get one of these, you can buy them off Foam Blast website. Maybe you're buying worker stuff for motors or what have you, and a little bit of that money goes to support me, which I very much appreciate, and helps me buy stuff like what's inside this box. So without further ado, I am excited because I need to open this box, and I want to talk about a couple of things because I know at least what I ordered. My invoice, and it says fangs will need to be oiled and broken in on lower voltage. Perfect, I can definitely do that. Not something I normally do, but what we have here is a ton of worker darts. And the reasoning for that is that I don't have any worker darts that are fresh and left. Oh my god, that's a lot of motors. Oh my Jesus. Okay, there's even more. What the heck? Okay, I needed worker darts because, like, my long shot requires worker darts, and I want to see what velocity it's hitting, and I didn't have any, so I just bought all their worker darts. What they had left in stock anyway. They're overdue for an order right now anyway, so I just bought what they had left. There's a lot of motors. It's like no matter how many motors I pull out, I should never need motors ever again. Ever. Thank you so much for that, because these are relatively useful for pretty much every... Oh, she even gave me some of the End War special Fang revamps. I need Fang revamps because 4 of these go into one of those worker Hurricanes with Michelle's cage in it, and I used to use the 4 I had. I don't have any more, so this is very useful. There's Krakens and every... Thank you so much, Michelle. Seriously, she threw those in, and I really appreciate it because that's going to help me out a lot. And then the rest of it are... Well, I bet you can kind of guess what these are, but these are the Worker Dominator 40-round magazines, and I am hopefully not going to get bamboozled by this. Can you? Because I bought a lot of them. Because I'm going to be hopefully specializing in using a Dominator or something else that uses these, because I know the FDL3 has a barrel that could use these. Not that I can afford an FDL3 because they're like $500, but that's pretty darn spiffy. And I bought 8 of them, so I have 9 now total to work with my Dominator. And my reasoning is that I've literally never seen another person using this blaster. I don't see people talk about it at all, which I think is kind of a shame, because the 40 dart, or in this case 44 dart magazines, while they have issues feeding with some darts and some blasters and some flywheel cages, once you get it kind of nailed down, which I have to a degree in my Dominator, you get 44 darts in a single reload in an object that takes up the amount of space of basically 2 22-round magazines. And many people would argue the 2 22-round magazines are much better, and it really doesn't take that long to reload, and I'm entirely liable to agree with you. But these are different and they're cool, and honestly, having 44 darts with no reloads is something that really not a whole lot of blasters can do. The command fire has some minor issues with feeding, much like a Prometheus or a Nemesis or anything like that. They're not exactly perfect when it comes to feeding, and you can get into situations where the blaster jams. Once I figured out that you have to use basically Vowberry darts, or like something with an elite tip that's rather firm as opposed to something that can squish up against the side of the cage when you're feeding it. At least until I figure out what kind of cage will work better with feeding, because I'd rather use like the Adventure Force darts. Things get a lot easier on me when it comes to using the Worker Dominator. And also I had to replace the spring in my pusher with one that's a lot stronger, because that makes it prevent from like catching on the back of it. So you get 44 darts of unending foam rampage per reload, and now I have enough magazines to run pretty much all of the darts. All of them. This is kind of what's going to be the genesis for what I believe to be my HvZ Loadout. I am, well, a very large, big, slow target. So the kind of thing that I kind of need to do, the kind of thing that I want to specialize, is supporting my team. And what better way to do that than to have nearly unending cover fire? The only issue with this sentiment is that nobody else is really going to have this kind of magazine, so I won't be able to really offer a whole lot to a bunch of other players, and I do have ideas for that to kind of help in that field, but it's, you know, at least I can fire a lot. At least I know people will be able to depend on me, hopefully. If there's a jam or something, I'll have to really test out these magazines to see if I can really just load up every single one of these magazines with every single one of the darts I have that will fit in here, and hopefully get no jams and no mess-ups, because that's going to be a lot. And because you can easily control the rate of fire on something like the Dominator, it makes things a lot easier on me in making sure I don't just dump all of these darts at once. So I can have a slow rate of fire when I need it, I can have a fast rate of fire when I need it. Pretty much every single thing about these screams to me really useful, and everybody's really excited for the Titan. And I definitely agree with that sentiment, but you're not going to be carrying multiple Titan drums, because in the space of one Titan drum, no joke, you could fit several of these magazines. So really, what's the point? Oh, do I really want to load all of these right now? Frick, why not? Let's do it. Well, at about 3 minutes a magazine, give or take, that's a long reload. That is a very long reload. But what do you get for it? A lot of darts on tap. And let's see how heavy. These are actually substantially heavy. Like, not... That's about a blaster's weight right there. I'm gonna have 9 of these. 1 in the blaster, 8 in reserve. Wow. So after a million delays, having to charge the battery, fix some minor issues with the blaster, hopefully I'm able to get through all of these mags. And hopefully the Worker Dominator has returned. And maybe some people will be happy and possibly want to check them out themselves. I want to use this as my primary for HvZ. So, I'm just hoping it can get through every single magazine. So, let's find out. a lot of darts to clean up. So, they fed pretty good. Even with the crappy darts, it fed reasonably well. At about half those darts, I can tell, I tore the heads right off of them. Which is a good thing. I don't have to worry about saving really any of those darts. And that was incredibly satisfying. That was a lot of darts relatively quickly. But I'm quite impressed. Even though those were bad darts, even though this flywheel cage is honestly not optimal at all, performed pretty well. Now, my plan for the future is to remove these 3 flywheel cages and most likely put in some 3D printed ones with some different motors and get a more optimal setup in here that will make this a little more... I want to be able to take cages out so I can use it for like 130 FPS HvZ limits, but then also throw cages in to get, 200 FPS. So I have a lot of motors now. I've got a lot of flywheels in stock. Got a 3D printer, so it should be possible to maximize this thing about as much as you can. And I did have about 2 or 3 hiccups there, but out of 400 darts and all those mags and everything like that, that wasn't half bad at all. And I could definitely, that was probably just from me putting in too many darts. So I'm pretty happy with how this thing works now. I'm definitely thinking more people need to check out the Dominator. Hopefully I can just use this as my new primary for HvZ, because I want to have the 44 round mags. I need to experiment a little bit more with darts, because I know for a fact that Venture Boar's waffle tips won't fire through this thing at all. And we'll see what happens if I can get like AccuFakes to work. But as far as I know, the only dart that will work is like a Vowberry, because they're elite heads that are a little bit firmer than normal. FVJs will also work, but those are banned pretty much everywhere. I'm pretty happy. And it smells a lot like foam in here. Melted foam. That was fun. I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.
You gotta